So that what was said about these pilots is a fallacy. But they were good pilots. They're the best in the world, and you can't sell them short. But only the lead plane on each flight had a guidance system which was compatible to the Pathfinders. The Pathfinders went in just before midnight, an hour ahead of us. When I jumped, it was on the plane manifest. I went out the door at 14 minutes after 1 in the morning on June the 6th. So we tried to get together, but when the pilots went through this cloud bank, there was a rain cloud. It had cleared up, but you do get a rain here, and across the street you won't get a rain, so there's banks of rain clouds. We went through the rain cloud, and the planes were flying very, very close together, because they had, I think, 800 and some planes in one flight there. And they turned their wing lights on. This is the first and only time, I think, in the history of aircraft warfare that the planes turned their lights on at night. And that must have been a sight for the Germans to behold, to look up there and see 800 planes or 1,000 planes coming at them, And so anyway, when they tried to evade, some planes went up, some down, some right, some left. And when we came out the other side of the cloud bank, the planes had dispersed. So only the leader had the directional finder. So all the planes following had nothing to go by, and there's no road signs, there's no street lights. You're in the dark. And those pilots, they had to guesstimate. I don't know how they did it, but they put the majority of us onto the peninsula into Normandy. If I'd have been flying that plane, it would have been lucky to land in China, because these guys were flying blind. And they did one hell of a job just to get us on the ground, let alone in the channel. And we got together. There was several of us. I met Hundley, almost shot him, had one of these little clicker things. They said it sounded like a cricket, and it does not sound like a cricket. It goes click-clack. Have you ever heard a cricket do that? Not unless you had a clicker. But anyway, I saw this figure moving in a little pile of brush there, and I clicked it, laid the rifle alongside, took the bead on him, took the safety off, took the slack out of the trigger, and I clicked it. And there was no click-clack back, and there was no answer. The password, challenge and password at that time was flash, thunder, and welcome. And the reason they had flash was just to alert the people, that somebody's got a bead on you. They picked thunder because the Germans couldn't pronounce thunder. If they overheard it some way, and then you did it again, and the German said, I got it. So you say flash, and he says, Tunder, he's dead. So they have these little tricks that they handle, and we worked in behind the lines that way all the time, and we always had the password. It was passed down verbally every day, nothing written, nothing by radio. And anyway, the guy didn't answer, and now I have to kill my first man, and I just turned 19. I said, my God, I wasn't really a real big-time religious man, but I went to Sunday school once in a while when my mother could corral me. And I knew, you get that feeling when you're raised that way, that it's, thou shalt not kill. And no matter how many bayonet courses you go over, how many times you shoot on targets, when you go to kill your first man, it's traumatic. But I could feel the sweat running from my armpits and dripping off my elbows. It was that much of an impact. And finally, this figure started crawling toward me. I said, well, he's close enough now. He was about 8 or 10 feet away, and it was dark. So when I started seeing something familiar about him, I said, well, he's close enough. If he gives me any hard time, I just pull the trigger, and he's gone. He got close enough, and it turned out to be Hundley, a young guy from Kentucky who was a very good friend of mine. We used to drink a lot of beer together. And I said, Hundley, why in the hell didn't you, excuse my French, but why didn't you answer me? He said, well, I lost my cricket, and my throat was so dry I couldn't talk. So he said, I figured the best thing I could do is get real close to you so you could recognize me. So anyway, that's what happened, and I did recognize him, and we got together. But we went on with our attack, and we fought all the way through. We took Ravnoville. We got more people together, and we went on with the attack, and we followed along the... is that green or yellow? That's green, okay. Now it's yellow. No, it's still green. But anyway, we went along the parallel with the English Channel. We fought through all these little towns up to Sainte Marie de Mont, and we ran into some horse-mounted Russian Cossacks swinging sabers and firing Schmeiser. But we did away with them, and it was a back-and-forth thing there. And this little town called Angeville-au-Plain, there was a church there, and two medics, Bobby Wright and Moore, took the church over, and they were using the pews to put our wounded on. And then the Fallschirmjäger counterattacked, and they drove us out. We counterattacked, drove them out. It went back and forth there for quite a while. And then the SS, they drove us out. We drove them back. And so this little church was filling up with our wounded. And later on, we did take the town, and then we moved forward, and it was the Colonel Ballard. I didn't use his name in my book because I was kind of peeved at him. But he asked if we'd help him in an attack to go into the German, which we did, and we attacked. We left our original objective, went to the left, went with Ballard, Colonel Ballard, and we made the attack. And then there was a Navy man there who was the forward observer for the artillery, for the naval artillery. And he had a volley come in, and the volley was too far. So he corrected it, and the next volley landed on us. We got hit with 8-inch shells. We did in Ravenelville one time. We received a volley of 8-inch from the Quincy. In Ravenelville, we received a volley, and the other one. Anyhow, we survived that, and we attacked on through there and through what is now known as Dead Man's Corner. And I was the only machine gunner, and there was 5 of us, and Hagenbuch was killed there. And anyway, this got to be known as Dead Man's Corner because of a young man that was killed in a tank, and his body stayed upright for about 3 days. And every time somebody after that wanted a direction, they say, well, go up to the corner where the dead man is and turn right, or go to the corner where the dead man is and turn left. And so then finally the grave registrations took the body out, but it's known as Dead Man's Corner to this day. But there was only 5 of us fought that battle. And my time is up. But we did pull one. I want to just say one thing. We did pull one ordered bayonet charge after that outside of Carentan. And if you're ever in a bayonet charge, ordered bayonet charge, naked bayonets, it's quite an experience. And they killed a lot of us. We killed a lot of them. So that's part of the Normandy invasion. And thank all of you for being here.
Thank you, gentlemen.